My dear sisters and brothers, when we come here to church and look at one another, we know that someone I might know, someone I don't know, but we are all together. All of us are on a journey. We are journeying in life from birth to death, and we keep on meeting people and interacting with them. Now, here we feel quite different, and if we are outside, we feel quite different. If we are traveling by bus, train, plane, whatever it is, we also have other fellow travelers with us. Now, we might look at others as strangers, or we might feel close. Here, we might feel we are strangers, but we still feel close to one another. And why is that? Because of our baptism. We are all Catholics. So there is some commonality, and that's why we feel quite close to one another. We come for Mass. Some of us know English, some of us may not know English. When we go to another place, we also go for a Mass. Suppose we went to Germany, we would go for Mass and we would participate, not knowing the language, but still we are quite familiar with it because we know what comes one after the other. Sometimes we are here, but we are not present here. We are somewhere else. So that also could happen to us. But the more we are present, then we will be united to one another in the Spirit of Jesus. And that is what the first reading is telling us. We are all built together into one body of Jesus. All of us are members of His body. And so, the more we are present to Him, the more we will experience His presence among us. Now, this is something that might not happen to us because we are too self-centered. So we are only immersed in ourselves. But the minute we become present to Him, we move out of ourselves. And that is when we begin to notice what He is doing in us while we are here. How all of us are growing in Him as a body. These things we are not very much attuned to. But when Jesus was with His apostles, He did the same thing. He chose them. He says, "Come, follow me." And they followed Him. What did they see? What He spoke is what He lived. There was a synchronicity in what He did, because they could see even the Pharisees said that. "Master, you truly say what you mean and mean what you say." That's how they said to Him, because He really lived. And that is what we are all called to on this feast day, because all of us are also chosen just as the apostles were. So when they lived with Jesus, they saw and experienced Jesus. But still, they had their own thought patterns, who they should look into what Jesus is. What they were doing, they were putting what was in their head onto Jesus, not experiencing who He is. Now that is what also happens to all of us. We do that. We come from our head, we have a preconceived idea of who you are, and we dump that on you, and we relate to that idea, and that's how we don't relate to one another properly. Not the real ones. You are not real, neither are they. So we are living in this kind of a world. But today's readings are calling us to be built on Jesus. When we build ourselves in Jesus, then we will become truly present to one another. And when we are present to one another, His Spirit will be leading us all into the direction of building up the kingdom here on earth. So what should we do then? One of the things that we need to do is just what Jesus did. At the end of the day, He just emptied all that had happened to Him onto his Father. And the Father took it all and gave him himself. So that is what we need to do. At the end of the day, all our experiences, just be present to them and surrender them to Jesus. Were they in union with him, or were they by ourselves? Whatever it may be, just surrender it to him. Now what happens when you do that? You go to bed without this burden on you. You have emptied that burden onto Jesus. Now when you sleep, what happens is this. He starts working at the subconscious level, and all these things which we are formatted, scripted, programmed by evil in us, because we have been self-centered. That's how evil does what he wants, and we have seen it in the scriptural readings of the past days, that we give it to him. He takes it over, he corrects us, he puts us right. Anyone who is in Christ is a new creation. The old is gone, the new is here. St. Paul himself said that. So by morning, you have spent 5, 6, 7 hours with him. And then you're a new creation. Now get formatted in the way of Jesus. Just remain united to Jesus, as I said. As you breathe in, you're being filled with Jesus. As you breathe out, empty your thoughts, your feelings in Jesus. Now what are you going to do in the morning? In the morning, you're already cleaned up. You're a new creation. You keep yourself now in Jesus, in his ways. He will do it. His Spirit will teach you. Don't have to worry. He is right inside you. So that will happen to you. You'll begin to see it and you'll begin to act on it through the day. So that's what you do in the morning. Just take your rosary, take all the beads. There are 59 of them. By the time you come to the 60th, you're already formatted in Jesus. So through the day, what will happen is this, that you will remain constantly present at every breath to him, and you will keep uniting everything to him. So what will happen? His Spirit will teach you what is the way to respond to the persons or situations or things. And that will bring you great joy, happiness, peace. And the kingdom is built like that. This is the way in Jesus. Let us ask the Lord to bless us as he blessed these apostles, that we too may be following the way of Jesus in our thoughts, in our words, and in our deeds. Let's hold our hands together, close our eyes, keep our backs straight, and just be present to Jesus. Every breath, he fills us from our toes right up to our head. So everything in us is floating in Jesus, so to say. Just as you put water in a dish and all the contents float in the water, they come in, they get loosened up, and then you throw it all out. Then you take a second time the water, fill it. The second time you might use a little force to get all the sticking stuff in the dish to come out. Then you take the detergent and scrubber, and then you start cleaning it. It's the same effect at every breath. The more you're present to what is going on in you and surrender it in Jesus' name, the greater will be the freedom that you will experience from it. And what is good in us of the Lord's presence, that will start flowing out of through our thoughts, in our words, and in our behavior. Lord, thank you for this experience that we are having at this moment with you. May we deepen in it as we keep surrendering ourselves to you with this bread and wine. And just as you will transform this bread and wine into your body and blood, may we also be transformed and become more and more the persons we are meant to be in you.